Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, You Are the Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Jessica Chichester, and today we're exploring the power of yes, how this simple word can profoundly influence our mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional lives. We'll discuss how saying yes invites us to release control and step into the intuitive unknown. Saying yes is an act of courage. It opens up new ideas, new life, new experiences, a portal into the unknown. It's about embracing what life offers, stepping into new experiences without the full knowledge of what will come next. Mentally, this breaks our patterns of seeking control, allowing us to grow and adapt in surprising ways. So, I have a couple of personal stories I'm going to share with you today about the power of yes and how this yes is really sacred and it cleans up parts of our lives. So, saying yes to the opportunity of opening a healing oasis was definitely out of my comfort zone. I was brought up to have something steady, like most of us are brought up in that capacity, right? Go to school, get a steady job, know your pension, know your hours, create a family, and know your times off. And this is a life in the known with actually lots of unknowns and lots of shackles at the end of the day. But when Peter had a dream, it was about 7 years ago at this point, he had a dream about Hope Healing Oasis. And this is what happened. So he heard us back on a fire call, and we did some deep dive into holistic therapies, and we got an infrared sauna for our house. And literally everything about our lives started changing. Our skin, our sleep, our hair, my thyroid. And at the time, I didn't realize why I was so debilitated with pain, but I was experiencing implant illness from my breast and then butt implants without even knowing it. So we said yes to a holistic treatment of getting an infrared sauna. And when we got that infrared sauna and things started changing, all of a sudden, Peter had this dream. And after he left work at the firehouse one day, because he's also a firefighter, he drove by where Ho is located and had a dream about the facility. And when I went to go see the facility, I just had a vision of the beautiful, full sensory, holistic experiences that I was having in my classroom in terms of light therapy, sound therapy, aromatherapy, because I was almost a 20-year teacher. And I saw this on a larger scale in Healing Oasis. So we prayed upon this and we decided to say yes, yes to opening the business and not knowing where the money was coming from. Yes to the adventure and into the unknown. And this saying yes together changed and expanded my mental horizons and my life in ways that I had never in a million years had anticipated. I just never considered myself to be an entrepreneur, but I did consider myself to be a pioneer. So I said yes to this pioneering spirit and yes to being different and to following the path for myself and for my spouse and for this community so we can bring more healing to our community. It's important to say yes in our personal lives. So on a physical level, saying yes can literally energize our body. All right. It's triggering a cascade of positive biochemical reactions. Emotionally and spiritually, it opens us up to experiences that can heal and transform us. So let's talk about a major yes, and that's marriage. So saying yes to marriage is profound, plunging us deep into a deep emotional and spiritual journey. And when children come into the picture, they stir up what I call the sacred mess. Suddenly, you're faced with new, intense challenges that test and often deepen your capacities for love, patience, and understanding. And also, if you're a person who wants to pioneer deep into your spiritual journey, you understand in living in this world of spirit that children bring up all your uh, all your unhealed wounds. Becoming a parent after saying yes to marriage brings its own set of messes, or even becoming a parent before you're even getting married. It all brings up messes and the business, right? Sleepless nights, relentless worry, the constant demand of being needed. Oh my gosh. I remember in the early days of parenthood feeling completely overwhelmed, yet touched by this profound sense of purpose and connection. So these experiences are messy, but they're sacred, and they force us to confront our limits and potentials. Gosh, I even remember saying yes to getting married. And like literally at the time, therapy was a thing for me. And I ran myself to therapy because I knew that I have this fire inside of me. And either I could use it to cook or burn down the house, so to say. And obviously, I want to cook. So in our lives, it's important to embrace the yes daily. We could have this fire inside of us, but we also need to learn how to direct it. So, yes is the opposite side of no, and both are sacred for the balance in our lives. Both are masculine and are feminine, energize all aspects of our lives. And even being married, there's, my partner is a man, but he also has taught me a lot about grace and how to lean in to my more sensitive feminine self. So, my husband, a career firefighter, uh, a manly, strong man, also taught me the grace about my own femininity and womanhood and marriage just by him living in his authenticity and staying in his power. Incorporating yes into our daily routines can be a transformational practice. I say yes every day to meditation or prayer, whatever you want to call it, in the morning. I say yes to turning on my beamer while I do that. And I use that moment to really lean in to the healing capacities of my body, my mind, my spirit, because I have a posture first in my heart before doing these practices and saying yes. Saying yes to turning off your phone an hour before bed or connecting with your partner on a deeper, intimate level, even if it's just catching your eyes for a couple of moments, like what Peter and I do in the classes we teach at Healing Oasis with Tantra. Tantra is the power of saying yes. When two people, either a couple or even single people, doesn't matter, friends, strangers, come together and can look at each other in their eyes and hold space for their yes, hold space to listen to the person's body, their countenance, their reactions, their breath. And this yes gives us a deeper sense of connection and community. Saying yes when your child speaks and affirming that their voice is something powerful and transformational. Going back to the idea of children, I like to say that, when I was a school teacher, I always said, listen, I'm your teacher, but this is not a one-way street in this classroom. You're my teachers too. I need you to bring your energy into this environment in order for us all to grow and build and heal and learn, because I don't have all the answers. And I even believe that mantra to be true when we have our own children. Our children are our teachers. They teach us how to be parents. They teach us about our wounded self. They teach us how to be in more spiritual alignment if we have the heart posture of saying yes to all facets of ourselves without judgment, all the sacred mess, the messiness and the mud in ourselves. It's important every day to have that love, to connect with ourselves. And that's why that morning meditation and rituals are so powerful, because when we can sit there and say, you know what? I'm a little bit weird and off, and I'm going to invite my foolish self in today. I'm going to invite the joker, the jester in me. I'm going to invite in the wise sage, and I'm going to invite in the mother, the father, the brother, the warrior, the homemaker, the mother, all of these parts of myself, the wild woman. I'm going to invite in all parts of myself today, and I'm going to allow all that quirkiness and all my own authenticity and my spiritual alignment to show up in every situation I go in, because that's what gives us the connection to others and the fluidity. Not when we say no to ourselves, but when we say yes to holding ourselves up to the highest emotional value possible. And I think about Hope Healing Oasis and the paradigm shift that this has caused in my own life and all the members and guests that come into this facility. Because everybody that walks into this facility has decided to say yes to upgrading a different level of their health, their body, their mind, their spirit. And that's not an easy thing to do, because on a physical and a neurological level, when we live in a state of distress, all those distress hormones get pushed out into our body, and we get attached and often addicted to the loop that we're in. And it's important for us to have awareness, to bring awareness to our lives so we can break out of any negative loops. I like to say that just because we think a thought doesn't mean we have to believe it. You know, feelings are great indicators, but they're horrible leaders. If I believed every thought I would that I think, I would be in jail. I would be dead. And maybe you would be too. Who knows? Right? But the thing is, we need to hold every thought captive and see, is that thought in alignment with God, in alignment with my highest self and my purpose? Because if it's not, that thought could just be one that comes in to distract you from your divine calling. I had a moment this past weekend where I went to a retreat, and it was a very sacred evening that I had with a whole room of strangers. And when I decided to share part of my story, it was something that I've never shared before about my childhood and about understanding the roles of people in my lives, understanding who they are and what their roles are, my mother, my father, what I was called here to learn in this lifetime. And after I was done talking and everybody was done talking in the circle, I I walked away and I connected with a woman, and she completely pushed me away. And I started feeling shame. And I was like, holy crap, why did I share anything like this? This was a really bad idea. And so I went to sleep, and the next day we had Sacred Circle again. And I realized after hearing all those people talk again, and then I finally decided to speak, I had a huge shift happen in my body. And I realized, wait a minute, that thought, feeling shame about my shame, is just a distraction from my divine calling, as it's just a distraction from yours. As we wrap up today's episode, I encourage you to think about what yes you'll say today that might push you into the intuitive unknown. It's in these moments that we find our true medicine. When you share your stories of yes, You give other people your medicine and the courage to own their life, to heal, to look at their sacred mess and run in it and embrace it. I always like to say that I'm a disruptor, as if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are too. I'm a disruptor. I like to get in the dirt and in the mud and just play with it and to go deep and to really understand my life and my purpose of my life. And if I can walk around with all this mud on and this beauty and walking through my what I call my shame song and singing and laughing about it and embracing the healing of that, I give other people permission to do the same. And until next time, remember that you are the medicine. You are the answer that you've been looking for your entire life. And it's right there, here within you. Embrace it and let it transform every aspect of your life. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Satnam.